A city existed 4,000 years ago. A city with straight streets, advanced plumbing, and carefully designed neighborhoods. But here's the shocking part. When archaeologists uncovered it, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Because this city looked more organized than many cities built thousands of years later. This was Mohenjo, one of the greatest ancient cities ever discovered. And also, one of history's biggest mysteries. But the story doesn't begin with the city itself. It begins with a strange discovery. In the early 1920s, archaeologists working in the Indus Valley noticed something unusual. Large mounds of dirt scattered across the landscape. To most people, they looked like nothing more than ancient ruins, or perhaps just natural hills. But when archaeologists began digging, they found something unexpected. Perfectly shaped bricks. Thousands of them. Then walls began to appear. Then streets. Then entire buildings. Slowly, a forgotten city started rising from beneath the earth. And what they discovered shocked the world. Because Mohenjo-daro wasn't just old. It was incredibly advanced. The city had wide streets laid out in a precise grid pattern. Every block looked carefully planned. Every neighborhood organized. This wasn't a random settlement. This was a city designed by brilliant planners. But what truly amazed archaeologists was something hidden beneath the streets. An underground drainage system, pipes, and channels that carried waste away from homes. Let that sink in. 4,000 years ago, people living in Mohenjo-daro had one of the most sophisticated sanitation systems on Earth. Most houses even had private bathrooms. Water flowed through carefully built brick drains covered with stone slabs. Even today, some cities struggle with sanitation systems like this, yet somehow, an ancient civilization had already mastered it thousands of years ago. But the deeper archaeologists explored the city, the stranger the story became. Because, despite its advanced design, there was something missing. No massive royal palaces, no giant statues of kings, no obvious signs of powerful rulers. Which raises an incredible question. Who built this city? And how did they organize such a massive society without the typical signs of kings or emperors? But the biggest mystery wasn't how the city was built. It was how it ended. Because at some point, the people of Mohenjo-daro disappeared. The city was abandoned. No clear evidence of invasion. No signs of a final battle. No burning buildings. Just a once thriving city. Left behind. For centuries, the ruins remained buried beneath layers of dust and sand, as if history itself had tried to erase the memory of this civilization. But Mohenjo-daro was only one part of something much bigger, an enormous civilization that once stretched across thousands of miles. A civilization older than many people realize, and one that still holds secrets historians are trying to understand today. In this documentary, we're going to explore how this ancient city was built, how its people lived, and the chilling mystery behind its sudden disappearance. Because Mohenjo-daro isn't just an ancient ruin, it's a puzzle. One that historians are still trying to solve. But Mohenjo-daro was not just a city, it was part of something much bigger. An enormous civilization that once stretched across more than 1 million square kilometers. Today we call it the Indus Valley Civilization. At its peak, this civilization was home to nearly 5 million people. That means while pyramids were rising in Egypt and kingdoms were forming in Mesopotamia, another powerful civilization was quietly thriving along the Indus River, and Mohenjo-daro was one of its greatest cities. Archaeologists believe the city may have held around 40,000 residents. That might not sound like much today, but 4,000 years ago, that made it one of the largest cities on Earth. And everything about it was carefully planned. The city was divided into two main sections: a higher area, often called the citadel, and a lower residential city where most people lived. The citadel stood on a massive raised platform built from mud bricks. From here, important buildings overlooked the entire city, and among them was one of the most mysterious structures ever discovered, the Great Bath. At first glance, it looks like a large rectangular pool, but when archaeologists studied it more closely, they realized something remarkable. The pool was waterproof. Its bricks were sealed with natural bitumen to prevent leaks. Stone steps led down into the water from both sides, and a complex drainage system allowed the bath to be emptied and cleaned. This wasn't just a simple pool. It was engineered with incredible precision. But the biggest question is, why did they build it? Some historians believe it was used for religious purification. Others think it may have been a place for important ceremonies. But the truth is, no one knows for sure. And the mysteries don't stop there, because unlike many ancient civilizations, Mohenjo-daro shows almost no evidence of kings or rulers. There are no massive palaces, no giant statues of emperors, no tombs filled with royal treasures, which is extremely unusual. In ancient Egypt, pharaohs ruled with absolute power. In Mesopotamia, kings controlled vast kingdoms. But in Mohenjo, power seems almost invisible. Some experts believe the city may have been governed by merchants, councils, or community leaders. If that's true, it would make the Indus Valley Civilization one of the earliest examples of organized urban society without a dominant monarchy. And that's not the only thing that made these people extraordinary. Artifacts discovered across the city reveal a thriving economy. Craft workshops produced beads, jewelry, pottery, and metal tools. Some of these items were made with stunning precision. But perhaps the most surprising discovery came from far beyond the city, because objects from the Indus Valley have been found thousands of miles away. In ancient Mesopotamian cities, this means the people of Mohenjo-daro were part of a massive international trade network. They traded precious stones, metals, cotton, and crafted goods across great distances. Ships likely traveled along rivers and coastlines connecting different civilizations. In many ways, Mohenjo-daro was a global city long before globalization even existed. But despite all their achievements, the people of this civilization left behind one frustrating mystery: their writing. Archaeologists have discovered hundreds of small seals carved with strange symbols, short inscriptions made of characters that no one has ever fully translated. This script remains one of the greatest unsolved puzzles in archaeology. Without understanding it, historians are missing a crucial piece of the story. We don't know their rulers. We don't know their myths. We don't know their laws. It's as if an entire civilization spoke to us in a language we still cannot understand. But while their words remain silent, the ruins of Mohenjo-daro continue to tell a powerful story. A story of innovation, of organization, of a civilization far ahead of its time. Yet hidden within these streets, there are clues suggesting something went terribly wrong. Because sometime around 1900 BC, this thriving civilization began to collapse. Cities were abandoned, trade networks disappeared, and one by one, the lights of the Indus Valley went out, leaving behind one haunting question: what could destroy a civilization this advanced? The answer may be hidden in the final days of Mohenjo-daro. For centuries, Mohenjo-daro was alive. Its streets were filled with merchants, craftsmen, and families going about their daily lives. Children played in the narrow lanes between brick houses. Traders moved goods through busy markets. Water flowed through the city's remarkable drainage system. It was a thriving, powerful urban center. But then, something began to change. Around 1900 BCE, archaeologists believe the Indus Valley Civilization started to weaken. At first, the signs were small. Trade with distant regions slowly declined. The carefully organized systems that once kept cities running began to break down. In Mohenjo-daro, buildings that were once constructed with perfect precision started appearing rushed and poorly planned. New structures were built directly on top of old streets. Drainage systems stopped being maintained. The city that once represented incredible order slowly fell into chaos. But what caused this collapse? For decades, historians searched for answers. One of the earliest theories suggested invasion. Some believed outside warriors might have attacked the city, destroying the civilization. But when archaeologists examined the ruins more carefully, they found almost no evidence of a massive battle. There were no large burned layers, no destroyed city walls, no signs of a violent conquest. The city did not appear to have been destroyed by war, which made the mystery even deeper. Another theory focused on nature itself. The Indus River had always been the lifeline of this civilization. It provided water for crops, transportation for trade, and life for the surrounding cities. But rivers can also be unpredictable. Evidence suggests the region experienced repeated flooding. Powerful floods may have struck Mohenjo-daro again and again, each time damaging homes, streets, and infrastructure, each time forcing the population to rebuild. Imagine living in a city where every few years the river rises, destroying everything you worked for. Over time, people may have simply decided it wasn't worth rebuilding anymore. But floods might not have been the only problem. Scientists studying ancient climate records discovered something alarming. Around the same time Mohenjo-daro began declining, the climate across the region started changing. Monsoon rains weakened. Rivers that once flowed strongly became smaller and less reliable. Without stable water sources, agriculture would collapse, crops would fail, food would become scarce, and people would slowly migrate away in search of better land. Cities that once held tens of thousands of people would gradually empty, street by street, house by house, until the great urban centers of the Indus Valley were left behind. But perhaps the most haunting came from the human remains discovered in the ruins. In certain parts of Mohenjo-daro, archaeologists found skeletons lying in unusual positions. Some were discovered in the streets, others inside homes. Early researchers once suggested these people might have died suddenly during a disaster. But later studies revealed something surprising. The skeletons came from different time periods. They were not victims of a single event. Instead, they were simply people who lived and died during the final generations of the city. Which means Mohenjo-daro did not end in one dramatic moment. It slowly faded away, a powerful civilization, quietly disappearing from history. Today, the ruins of Mohenjo-daro remain one of the greatest archaeological sites on Earth, a city that proves advanced societies existed long before many people realize. Its streets still follow the same grid pattern designed thousands of years ago. Its drainage system still amaze modern engineers, but perhaps the most fascinating mystery remains unsolved: the writing of the Indus Valley Civilization. Hundreds of seals have been discovered carved with strange symbols, a script that has never been fully deciphered. If we could read those symbols, we might finally understand the people who built Mohenjo-daro, their leaders, their beliefs, their final days. Until that happens, the story of this civilization will remain incomplete. A reminder that history still holds secrets buried beneath the earth, and somewhere beneath the ancient dust of the Indus Valley, there may still be answers waiting to be discovered.